pages, sometimes they are in the public domain. They don't have the copyright thing, so you don't see the information. So you don't create it if you are, unless you see somewhere but not sure, then you can put it in parentheses so, because I was citing some of the governmental, then I realized they are in public domain. And I was asking for permission to screen capture. They didn't even bother to answer. So then I said,
right.
Okay, it's in public domain. I just cite it.
Right.
That's all.
That's
So I figure.
Okay, so I'm recording on this.
Okay.
And on that.
On
so
that. We can just go ahead and start and pretend we're doing something, and then we'll see what it looks like at the end.
Okay.
All right. All right, so welcome to Cite Like an Expert. We wanted to be able to share with you some skills that will help you make sure that you are citing all of your necessary references correctly. And today I have with me Ying-Ting Zhang, who is a Rutgers University librarian, who is going to help us make sure that we are citing like an expert. So let's just first start with, why should we care about citing? What's so important that we need to make sure that when we're citing, we're doing it properly?
Well, citing is very important. It also, if you cite properly and you are presenting yourself as a responsible, ethical writer, and you give credit to the original author of the work that you actually used in your writing, and also you help the readers to track down the original source that you used, and then also they can verify what you cited is correct or not, and then they can find more information. Another thing is you also make people believe that you have done enough research for your topic, because the references that you included shows you how much literature review you have done. And most of all, that will help you to prevent you from committed plagiarism, and that's very important.
Yeah, making sure that we prevent plagiarism is definitely really important.
I was going to put it in the front somehow.
Oh,
when
we
we are
need to go
practicing,
first,
yeah,
right.
this is the most important
one.
thing. Number one, yeah,
And
to,
hopefully I
to
spelled
avoid the
plagiarism
plagiarism.
right. Great. All right, so it's really important to make sure that we're just being responsible. I like how you said being a responsible and ethical writer is important. Okay, so it's important to make sure that we do cite, but there's also a lot of different citation styles.
Yes.
So why are there so many different ones?
So it depends on the discipline. So different disciplines use different styles. In general, like the humanities, social sciences, they're using the author date or year, depends. Like MLA, not medical library, the Modern Language Association style, they're using the author year.
So that's MLA,
no,
right?
author, it was like author page. But then the APA using author date. So anything, all those author in the parentheses, then you have alphabetical ordered listing in the bibliography. These are mostly like a health science, the social sciences or humanities. They do that, but the APA is like a kind of in the middle. In the science field, we use a lot of numbered references, and that's because in science writing you use a lot of references. Using the author date or something will interrupting too much when you read. So using the superscript number or the bracket number, and then the order of the references will be in corresponding of the time, the number you cited. So.
And is that usually referred to as Chicago, or is that?
Chicago or APA, MLA, they are like a more the author date style. Okay. And CSA also, the CSE, which is what? Council of Science Editors.
I just recently learned about CSE.
Oh yeah, I don't use that much. Then you have like a JAMA, IEEE's or Vancouver. They are like a number based. So,
wow. Okay.
So like a JAMA, the AMA style is like a superscript.
Okay.
But a Vancouver is like a bracket, like a number.
Okay, so that's
these are numbered.
Yeah.
Numbered style. So different.
And then you said Vancouver.
Vancouver, yeah. And then sometimes, the Vancouver, there are variations. So each journal and the publisher making things more complicated. They develop some kind of variation. For example, for like an APA, usually like when you have 3 author up, you have like a 2 author and then the third, and etc. But then they started like some publisher or some even course director, they require, hey, you have to list all the authors in the reference, But when the inside text, you can do one author, two author, then three up, and you can just it all. But in the list, the reference, the APA, I believe it's like a listing up to 20 now, the new one.
I think so, yeah.
But then the 21, it's the 20th is actually the last one. You list up to 19 and that dot. Then the 20th is the very last one, because sometimes the senior author could be the very, very important one.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that the new editions rolled out, that makes things even more complicated. The style itself is changing all the time. And there are lots of variations developed from the major one. So I noticed in health sciences, lots of variations, like endocrinology and then rheumatology. Then their journals, they just have variation from the JAMA style. And then the grant style, they actually also variation of the JAMA. The NIH, except the differences is NIH lists all the authors, while JAMA doesn't. And then NIH also does not make it the source title, the journal title italics, but in JAMA style, the journals, yes.
Yeah. So many variations, yeah. Which one do you think is most commonly used?
And depending on the discipline.
Yes,
so school public health, school public health using APA a lot.
Yeah. That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah,
is the APA.
So because we are in such a cross-disciplinary field, no single database will be saying, okay, this is for public health.
No.
We are touch everywhere: environment, behavioral science, you name it, we have it. Yeah. So make us the most challenging, discipline.
All right. So let's talk about some of the common mistakes or misperceptions that you see that individuals make when they're trying to cite.
The most common one I have seen students make is they paraphrased a sentence or some content without citing. And that is actually an act of plagiarism. So you have to cite. Don't think that, I changed the words already. I don't have to cite it, but these are not your ideas. So don't cite. And then also not cite properly. They did not follow the required style closely. And other mistake is they have typos of the author, or they have a wrong reference. And that's because sometimes they're using a citation manager, like Annotated, and the original information in that tool is wrong, and they did not correct it. So that is reflected in their cited reference.
Yeah, so it's like not cleaning up.
That we call intellectual laziness.
I like that. Intellectual laziness. Okay.
I didn't know where I read it, but I cannot cite because I don't remember the source now because I thought it was funny. But I didn't coin the term. So what other mistakes is people also kind of think, if I write like a copy by verbatim, they thought, okay, how many words it's not about the number of words. It's really about the context, about the substantial information. Sometimes could be just one word, but that word could be coined by that person. That you need to really put a quotation in the site.
Yeah.
But sometimes you may use it's a whole sentence, but it's a common language. It's like a factual common knowledge. You don't have to, this is a book.
Right. How do you decide
you're using exactly, people using this kind of sentences. If I write systematic reviews, even my methods section could be how many times I have to describe, I searched what database, but the results different. I get different results. So it really depends on the substance, how important the words that you are using and how original those phrases or sentences.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so those are some common mistakes. I wanted to just bring up a couple of examples of, when you're citing a journal article, those tend to be the easiest to figure out how to do. But when you're reporting on statistics, and maybe if you find some statistics in a news article, should you be reporting the news article where you found the statistics, or should you dig a little bit deeper and find the original source?
I usually cite both. Like if you get the information from that secondary source and then they mention the original, I cite both.
So it would be you just cite both within the in-text as well as
Correct.
in the
Yeah.
reference list.
It's
Like, so
not-
here's an example. Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely the original one.
Right.
But because you didn't find it originally, you find it through that one. That's why I usually cite both.
Okay, that's an interesting. So this is just an example of that. So this is CNN Health, who reported some fast facts on H1N1. This is back in, I think this was 2013, I think is this particular news article. It says updated June 2nd, 2022, but I think originally it was from 2013. And so if you were reporting on what are the statistics around H1N1, the CNN article points out that there were 12,469 fatalities. But if you click on that estimated total, you'll actually go to the CDC. And then you can find that original source. But you're saying that we should actually cite both because we found that secondary.
But the minimal is that you
minimal. You definitely want to use this
to.
original source, but you also
Yeah.
might want to consider putting both in your reference list because that was kind of your path to get there.
Correct. To give credit to you actually got it from that author.
Yeah, you saw it first.
So you cite both. Yeah.
Okay. But at a minimum, you'd wanted to at least look for the original data. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another example of just how do you cite an online report, because sometimes those can be difficult as well. So this is a report I'm staffing up out of the de Beaumont Foundation. And if you just look at the website, there's no information on like who is the author, what's the year of when it was published. And so if you just didn't dig deeper, you wouldn't have full information. But if you do click on this read the brief, so sometimes you have to look a little bit deeper to find the information. So if you go a little bit go a little deeper, click on that read the brief, then all of a sudden you see, oh, there is a year. And then there's also here some authors for that particular article or this report. So would you would just use this report to cite this report and not the website?
That's correct. If that report is shown in PDF, then all the information I will be retrieving from the PDF.
Yeah.
And but if you retrieve from the website, there is an URL, you can include it. Or if there is any kind of identifier like a digit, the DOI or other kind of unique number, you should also record that one too. That helps